There is a room within the architecture of your mind. It is a room you believe you inhabit alone. You sit there, perhaps intending to enjoy a moment of silence, or perhaps to focus on a single task, the washing of a dish, the turning of a page, the simple rhythm of your own breath. And then, without a knock, without a sound, the door swings open. An intruder enters. It is a thought. It is not a thought you asked for. It is not a thought you invited. One moment, you are present in the sensory reality of the now. The next, you are transported. You are suddenly reenacting a conversation from 10 years ago, feeling the phantom heat of an old argument rising in your chest. Or you are catapulted into a future that has not happened, constructing elaborate catastrophes about a deadline, a relationship, or a failure that exists only as a phantom in the neural pathways of your brain. We treat these intrusions as if they are us. We say, "I am thinking." But if you are the one thinking, why did you not choose the thought? If you are the master of this house, why do these uninvited guests wander in and out, tracking mud across the floor of your consciousness, rearranging the furniture of your emotions, and refusing to leave when asked? This brings us to the most haunting question in the landscape of human philosophy. A question that stares back at us from the mirror of existence. If you are not your thoughts, then who exactly is hearing them? And if you are not the author of the voice in your head, then who is speaking? To answer this, we must journey beyond the surface level of psychology and descend into the ancient, subterranean wisdom of the East. We must walk the path that the Buddha walked over 2.5 millennia ago, not as a religious exercise, but as a forensic investigation into the nature of reality itself. We begin with the machinery of the mind. Have you ever stopped to consider the mechanics of a single thought? We usually assume that we are the thinker, a solid, permanent entity sitting behind the eyes, pulling levers, generating ideas like a factory generates smoke. But this is the first illusion we must shatter. The default mode of the untrained mind is chaotic. It is a turbulent sea. Buddhism offers a precise blueprint for why this happens, known as or dependent origination. This is a complex term for a simple, yet shattering truth. Nothing arises in isolation. Nothing stands alone. Every phenomenon, every tragedy, every joy, and every fleeting thought is the child of 1,000 parents. A thought does not spring from a void. It is triggered. It is a reaction. A sensation on your skin triggers a memory. That memory triggers an emotion. That emotion triggers a narrative. It is a domino effect of infinite complexity. You smell rain, which reminds you of a childhood home, which brings up a feeling of loss, which creates a thought, "I am lonely." You did not choose loneliness. It was assembled, piece by piece, by the conditions of the moment. Do you doubt this? Let us conduct an experiment right here in the laboratory of your own awareness. I want you to pause. For the next few moments, I invite you to close your eyes. Your task is simple. I want you to predict your very next thought. Do not think it, predict it. Watch the blank screen of your mind and tell me exactly what will appear next. Wait for it. Could you do it? In almost every case, the answer is no. You stood there, waiting, and the mind likely fell silent, or perhaps a random image popped up, a face, a word, a sound. But you could not forecast it. If you were truly the thinker, if you were the absolute monarch of your mind, you would know exactly what was coming next. The fact that you cannot predict your next thought proves that you are not generating them, you are experiencing them. This brings us to the concept, the doctrine of no self. This is often the most terrifying and misunderstood concept in Dharma. It does not mean you do not exist. It means you do not exist in the way you think you do. You are not a static noun. You are a flowing verb. Imagine a river. You stand on the bank and watch the water rush by. The river is never the same. The water that flows past you now is different from the water that flowed a moment ago. The shape of the currents changes with the wind and the rocks. Your mind is that river. The Buddha, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, did not see a soul. He saw a process. He saw thoughts rising like bubbles from the river bed, bursting and dissolving back into the stream. He saw that there was no thinker separate from the thinking. There was just the flow. We suffer because we try to freeze the river. We identify with the debris floating in the water. A thought arises, I am not good enough. Instead of seeing this as a passing leaf on the surface of the stream, we grab it. We hold it close. We say, this is me. This is my truth. We build a raft out of our anxieties and cling to it, terrified of the current. The Buddhists call this the monkey mind. It is the aspect of consciousness that swings from branch to branch, never resting. It plans dinner while you are driving. It replays a mistake from work while you are trying to sleep. It judges. It fears. What if I fail? They shouldn't have said that. Did I lock the door? This constant chatter creates a density. It creates a gravitational pull that makes us feel like there is a solid me in the center of the storm. But that me is just another thought. The thought I am the thinker is itself just a thought. If you try to stop this river with your bare hands, you will drown. Have you ever tried to force your mind to be quiet? I will not think about the white elephant. Immediately, the elephant is all you see. The more you fight the current, the more turbulent the water becomes. So, what is the alternative? If we cannot stop the river, and we cannot predict the river, what can we do? We can climb out of the water. We can sit on the bank. This is the practice of, or mindfulness. It is not a trance. It is not checking out. It is a radical act of checking in with a different quality of attention. It is the shift from being the character in the movie to becoming the screen on which the movie plays. When you practice mindfulness, as laid out in the ancient, you are cultivating a non-judgmental awareness. You watch the thought, I am anxious, arise. You acknowledge it. Anxiety is here. And then you watch it pass. You do not invite it for tea, and you do not slam the door in its face. You simply let it be. In that moment of observation, a miracle happens. A space opens up. It is a microscopic gap between the stimulus and your reaction. In that gap lies your freedom. Modern neuroscience, led by pioneers like John Kabat-Zinn, has begun to map this ancient terrain with fMRI machines. They have found that this practice physically restructures the brain. It thickens the prefrontal cortex, the seat of emotional regulation, and shrinks the amygdala, the alarm bell of fear. By simply observing the river without drowning in it, you are rewiring the landscape through which the river flows. Let us try this shift in perspective now. For a moment, become the witness. Let the thoughts come. Do not push them away. If a thought comes about the time, let it come. If a thought comes about your body, let it come. Treat them like clouds drifting across a vast, blue sky. Notice the difference. The clouds are turbulent, but the sky is not. The clouds are gray or white or storm dark, but the sky has no color. The sky is simply the space that holds them. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. But the mind is cunning. It will ask if I am the sky, who is looking at the sky. We go deeper now. We go searching for the ghost in the machine. There is a feeling, deep in the gut, that somebody is home. We feel that behind the eyes, there is a pilot steering this vessel. The Buddha, in his relentless pursuit of truth, challenged us to find this pilot. He broke the human experience down into 5 components, the 5 aggregates, or he said, look at your form. Is that the permanent self? No, it ages, it sickens, it changes. Look at your feelings. Are they the self? No, they shift like the wind. Look at your perceptions, your mental formations, and your consciousness itself. He invited his followers to dissect their own experience. Is this mine? Is this who I am? Is this myself? There is an archetype in the ancient texts of a seeker named Kamaka. He was a monk, deeply respected, yet he was tormented by a lingering illness and a lingering doubt. He could not find the self, yet he could not shake the feeling that it was there. He described it as the scent of a lotus flower. You cannot say the scent belongs to the petals, or the stalk, or the pistil. It pervades the flower, yet it cannot be located. Kamaka investigated. He looked at every thought, every sensation, every moment of awareness, and he realized that the vague sense of I am was just a feeling. It was a mental formation, a habit of the mind, not a solid entity. The moment he saw this, that the thinker was just another thought, his mind was liberated. He realized the house was empty, and in that emptiness, there was peace. Consider the story of the Queen Kima, a figure of legendary beauty and intellect. She was deeply attached to her identity, to her form, to the self that looked back at her from the mirror. The legend tells us she encountered a vision of impermanence, so striking, watching youth decay into dust in a matter of seconds, that the illusion of a solid, separate self shattered. She realized that what she thought was her was just a temporary arrangement of elements. When we stop taking our thoughts personally, the weight of the world drops from our shoulders. If there is no self controlling the thoughts, does that mean we are helpless? Does it mean we are robots? No, it means we are part of nature. Think of a garden. You do not grab a flower and pull it to make it grow. You create the conditions. You water the soil. You ensure there is sunlight. The flower grows on its own, according to the laws of nature. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the vegetation. The specific thoughts you have today are the result of the seeds you planted yesterday, and the year before, and 10 years ago. If you planted seeds of anger, you will harvest weeds of resentment. If you planted seeds of compassion, you will harvest blossoms of peace. This is the law of cause and effect. We do not control the harvest in the moment it arrives, but we control the planting. And this brings us to the entity that is aware of the garden. Beyond the chatter, beyond the planning and the worrying, there is a silent witness. It is the aspect of you that knows you are reading or listening right now. It is not the voice reading the words, it is the ear listening to the voice. This awareness is often called luminous mind or clear light in the Tibetan traditions. It is the context for all content. Imagine a mirror. A mirror reflects everything that passes before it. It reflects beautiful roses, and it reflects rotting garbage. It reflects fire, and it reflects ice. But does the mirror burn? Does the mirror rot? Does the mirror freeze? No, the mirror remains pristine, unaffected by the reflections it holds. Your awareness is that mirror. You can experience deep grief, profound anger, or terrifying anxiety. These are the reflections. But the awareness, the grief, is not grieving. The awareness, the anger, is not angry. This is the cultivation of equanimity, or it is a state of balance so profound that you can stand in the center of the fire and not be consumed. It is not indifference. It is not a lack of caring. It is a capacity to hold everything, the light and the dark, without pushing the dark away or clinging to the light. When the monk in Neruda struggled with his meditation, confused and distracted, the Buddha advised him to simply know the distraction, to not fight it, but to encompass it with awareness. Through this, Neruda found that the distraction was just energy. When observed without resistance, it dissolved into the vastness of his own mind. We can access this vastness. It is always there. It is the silence between two thoughts. Usually, our thoughts are like a traffic jam on a bumper, no space between them. But as you practice, as you observe gaps appear, a thought ends. Faithfulin. And for a split second, before the next one begins, there is silence. That silence is you. That silence is the home you have been looking for. So, how do we live this? We cannot spend our lives sitting in caves or under trees. We have bills to pay, relationships to navigate, problems to solve. The Buddha was a pragmatist. He did not say stop thinking. He said think wisely. He distinguished between thinking that leads to suffering and thinking that leads to freedom. He called this wise attention. It is the difference between being lost in a maze and looking at a map of the maze. Imagine you are facing a complex problem, perhaps a financial crisis or a difficult creative project. The untrained mind attacks this problem with anxiety. What if I fail? I'm not smart enough. This is a disaster. This is the monkey mind throwing rocks. The trained mind approaches it differently. It sets an intention. I need to solve this. Then it observes. It watches the ideas arise. It sees the frustration come up and says, frustration. It does not identify with the frustration. It gives the problem space. There is a parable of the raft. The Buddha said his teachings are like a raft used to cross a river. You build the raft, you paddle across the dangerous currents, and you reach the safe shore. Once you are on the safe shore, would you pick up the heavy raft, strap it to your back, and carry it through the forest for the rest of your journey? Of course not. That would be foolish. The raft has served its purpose. You leave it at the riverbank and walk on, unburdened. Thoughts are the raft. They are tools. Use them to plan your life. Use them to learn from the past. Use them to communicate love. But do not carry them on your back when they are no longer needed. Do not carry the thought of the argument you had at breakfast into your evening rest. Leave the raft at the river. Living with this understanding is a subtle art. It begins with the micro moments. When you feel the tightening in your chest that signals stress, pause. Take one conscious breath. Step back from the thought. Ask yourself who is observing this stress. In that split second, you break the chain. You step out of the karmic cycle of reaction. You become the sky, not the cloud. You become the mirror, not the reflection. We began with a question: if you are not your thoughts, who is thinking them? The answer is not a word. The answer is not a concept you can grasp with the intellect. The answer is a direct experience of silence. The Buddha often answered metaphysical questions with noble silence. He knew that words would only create more thoughts, more nets to get tangled in. The ultimate answer is found when the question itself dissolves. There is no little man inside your head. There is no separate pilot. There is life unfolding. There is consciousness witnessing. There is a vast, luminous, interconnected web of existence, arising and passing away in a dance of infinite complexity. And you, the real you, the one beyond the name, beyond the history, beyond the chatter, you are the space in which the dance happens. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. Rest in that knowing, and be free.